Hey everybody, Fabian here with Avenue Human Experience, and today we're going to kill several birds with one stone in one podcast. I'm going to get to know a complete stranger, get to know a local business a little bit more, and just to get a much better feel about the people in our community. And then sitting next to me is Adolfo, and sitting off camera are a couple of grown men who didn't want to be on camera, but Adolfo swears that he's better looking with the mask on, so here he is, including the very man who brought this together, Mr. Chuck Cantu, who sold me my own solar system, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to include them in my podcast in season 2, because in season 2 I wanted to focus on the small businesses, the people behind them, especially the boots on the ground, the sales force, the people who keep the companies driving. And a lot of the places that I've done business with myself, reasons why I did, reasons why they stand out against the competition, reasons why I resonated with, them on a personal level. Because when I was starting out, one of the things that I realized about San Antonio as an entrepreneur and in sales when I was let out on my own was that San Antonio was a very much relationship-driven city. So, one of the other traveling reasons behind this is that, the more we get to know each other, the more we get to know our community, the more, trusting we're going to be when we, need help. So with that, how you doing? How's your day?
Doing fantastic, Fabian. I mean, it couldn't be any better. I mean, it's a super sunny day, even though we haven't seen any cold snaps coming up.
Not yet.
But it's a nice sunny day, a good day to talk about solar and anything associated about it, or whatever you want to talk about.
Oh, let's talk about you first. How old are you?
I'm 35, and I have been in the solar industry for about to be 5 months now. I came in recently. I've always been interested in some type of renewable energy sector, and I think, definitely solar is the most attainable and
it's the easiest one so far, yeah.
Easiest one for people to grasp since they already see it. Multiple households and plus.
Oh yeah, all over my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
They practically come built with those. That's really cool. So what did you do before that?
So before that, I was in the military for 8 years, from 2006 to 2016. So, 2008 to 2016.
So pretty much right out of high school.
So I was about 3 years after high school.
A little bit.
Yeah, I had a little leeway from there, trying to decide what I was going to do, and then the military. So in the military, I did all fuel logistics. So I had to deal with tankers, fuel pits, pumping systems, everything that deals with
dirty, ugly fuel.
The consumption, the waste.
Yeah.
And 2 tours in Afghanistan, I get to see the extremity of the waste of what entails with fuel, especially for the military.
So you got to see firsthand just how nasty the fuel system, the fuel system we use or the energy we use in America is, or at least for the military.
Definitely get to see firsthand, what is the dirty of the dirty. It's not just the bullets and the missiles and everything. It's the waste that comes with war.
Was that something that you cared about at all before joining the military, or was it just like, holy shit, this is a giant problem?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that you have to get firsthand experience to see how bad it is. People just they take it for granted how every single day people commute back and forth, and that's not as bad as what we're doing in the military, or you think of other sectors. So that's something that attracted me as far as accessibility to be able to spread the word, starting with residential and consumer grade solar panels and installations, because you can start reaching the masses with one step at a time. So this is my gateway. I came into this to start with the people themselves and learning what their needs are, and see how solar can help them out because it's. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Fern Gully.
Of course.
Fern Gully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what kind of got me thinking a different way of how we can approach a different industry that really is helping the environment, and plus creating a lot of new jobs, and just making a good name for a lot of industries if they go solar.
Yeah. What do you?
Fern Gully. Have you seen Fern Gully?
Of course.
So Fern Gully, there's many instances where the huge military or industrial complex, they depict it as almost like a spirit that's coming out of the exhaust of a lot
it's
of
Tim Curry.
engines. Do you remember what was
It's
that?
Tim Curry.
Tim Curry. Oh, really? He was the voicing?
Yeah, he was the voice.
Okay.
It's like one of his best performances. It's one of my wife's favorite performances of Tim Curry.
That's one of my favorite Robin Williams ones.
Yeah, the bat. There's actually an interesting history between Fern Gully and Aladdin because of that, but that's a different subject. Anyways, so yeah, no, I mean Fern Gully was the first intro to environmentalism that every kid gets. I just got a bunch of angry mothers and grandmothers yelling at me when I threw trash on the ground. But when you came out of the military, you got this new perspective on things. You start looking for a job in that kind of sector. What all did you look at?
So I went straight into engineering, and specifically process engineering and robotics, to see how we can start reducing our emissions, especially in the large culture of corporate and manufacturing. That is, to scale compared to residential, I mean, that's exponentially way bigger. So I try to just go into the deep end and try to help out in that sector. My first job was over there in Nashville working for 3M, and sometimes it's really hard to move a square boulder, because that's how they're set, and they have their way set, and it's really hard to, from the introductory or a new person to a culture like that, just telling them how to move or do things better, or something to contribute, but in another way maybe lose on the bottom line. So I saw an opportunity in residential solar due to the fact that it's not moving in large stone, it's just informing people, just getting that little pebble to start moving. And once you get enough pebbles together, then you have a whole beachfront full of sand that is back in.
Yeah, you don't move the large stone in one big go. You get a lot of little things to help you out move the large stone.
Yeah.
So San Antonio's littered with solar companies. Why Edge Pros?
I mean, Solar Edge Pros has a good foundation. I mean, they have over 20 years of construction experience, and that's something that it's something that gave me a lot of confidence knowing that we can handle any type of custom job, especially for doing steep roof or just checking everything out. Because a lot of the bigger corporations, I mean, they just individualize every single portion of the sales process with the customer, and it's very impersonal. And based on the size and scale of Solar Edge Pros, it was definitely up my alley, so I can get to know the customers through step one of the process all the way till maybe the lifespan of the solar panels, because I'm in it for the long run. So I'm not gonna be leaving my customers now or in the near future. It's gonna be a long process. So yeah, that they gave me the opportunity to do that, and I've been learning every single day of the week, and it's been
Well, it's a weird thing to have customers for a lifetime. I mean, what would you do with them throughout their... would there be other things to upgrade to? Would there be equipment to keep them up to date on? I mean, what would you...
Well, it's
How do you keep that relationship alive?
Well, it's kind of a relationship that maybe you have with your dentist. You've been with your dentist for a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll recommend them to your friends or family or any neighbor that's nearby, because there's somebody that's reliable and you've been with them, and so you can depend on them. And that's the type of service that ultimately we're refining and maintaining for our customers. So yeah, it's a long process, and that's the other part too. They don't just sell and then leave, you know.
I don't know.
We stay with our customers. Well, that's something that we're building on too. I mean, we had a Salesforce.
Surprised that guy's still working.
What was it? We had a Salesforce of about 20 sales guys, and it was just.
And they're all local. They'll all meet up with you in person. I mean, Chuck was with me every step of the way. Called me every step of the way. It was great. And it was a great process. But
so as far as your solar, I think we were mentioning that earlier before we started everything. Like, I want to know from your perspective, because I know I'm still a prospective customer myself, because I still haven't got solar in the house since I'm new to the San Antonio area.
Your boss just, I think you just got fired. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a PR nightmare over here. No, but at the same time, like, what brought you into to start thinking solar? Thinking about the benefits, or thinking about the environment?
Oh, it was just. I always wanted it. You know, the price, the price savings obviously was there. I mean, that's a no-brainer. The biggest thing was also because of the big freeze we had, where we lost power for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. Wanted to make sure that we had, you know, backup generator or backup battery, and that's, you know, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to get solar. So that in case that happened, you know, I'm gonna lose everything. At least not the fridge or the freezer. You know, the two big. I don't give a shit about anything else. It was just those two. And you know, it almost worked out perfectly. Mm-hmm. And the price drop from oh man, I mean my electrical bill 1 month since then. I mean, not 1 month, since like a month's time, but one of the ones that I noticed, it was like $60. Mm-hmm. It was, oh, Jesus. I used to have like $400 or $500 bills.
$400 or $500 bills. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you have? I mean,
so
that was eye-opening at that point.
Oh yeah. Oh, huge eye-opening.
So.
You have little kids too, right?
Mm-hmm. 3 little kids.
How old are the kids?
4, 2, and 4 months today.
4 months, awesome. So, you know, the winter freezes was on your mind, right? When you're looking to go solar.
Yeah.
I'm sure because you're little kids as well, right? So,
yeah.
In the winter storm, I had no power or water for 3 days, and you know, most of the houses here are all electric.
Yeah.
And you know, our house was all electric except the stove, but we didn't have a fireplace. So since we were out of power, we had to gather in the kitchen and turn on that stove and leave it running to keep everybody warm. And my baby was only like 3 weeks old.
And we piled in our bedroom, and we just got every single blanket in the house. We had a gas stove as well, so we were fine there. But our biggest worry was the food.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we hopped on the boat a little too late of gathering up the snow and using that to chill out everything. So that was like my final straw. I'm like, I need solar, I need the battery, I need the backup. I was like, that needs to be done.
Yeah, and then, you know, that was the one in, you know, I've been here almost 20 years, and that's probably the second or third time I've ever seen it snow, but that was the worst it's ever been in, you know, the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
We'll probably see something like that again in the future, but...
Oh, not even in the future. We'll see it this year. And every year.
And so not only...
Climate change is real.
But not only in the winter time, but I think we're going to start seeing things happen.
Climate change is real. I'm sorry.
But
sorry, people.
I think, you know, we're also going to start seeing things happen in the summertime.
Yes.
So everybody's worried about the winter storms. It's not the only thing to be worried about. It's also...
the major heat.
Rolling blackouts, people running their air conditioners too long. It's something that we're facing here in San Antonio, Austin. Everybody's moving here.
Mm-hmm.
from out of state and other places want to
Yep.
have income tax. So people are coming from California, people are coming from other states because now they can enjoy more of their money. But with these rolling blackouts, solar, it's only going to get worse. We haven't really seen too many rolling blackouts. But there's
Well, that's because our then that was the thing. Our grid is heat resistant, not cold resistant.
Yes, but at the same time, when more people are moving, they haven't done upgrades to the infrastructure, things are going to start to get a lot worse. So,
Yeah.
Things that people are worried about now are also, the summertime they did rolling blackouts this year. They're going to do more next year. Last year they're going to do more this year. So those batteries and the generators, those things are going to help you during those times as well. So, people are scared. That's why people are looking into solar.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't understand how solar works. One of the things that you mentioned is you still get a $60 bill. So one of the things that we famously see all the time here is that you're not going to have a bill anymore ever again.
Well, house and I don't want to give any specifics about my house, but I'm not surprised that I still get a little bit of a bill.
And that's where you can, one of the little things people can differentiate, good solar companies from bad solar companies. Because if somebody tells you that you're never going to have a bill again, it's never going to happen. You're always going to get some kind of bill from CPS or from any of the other companies out there. So that's one of the red flags that I wanted to talk about. How do you trust a solar company? How do you trust the people you're talking to?
Yeah, how do you? I want to make sure. Yeah, it's on the right side. Yeah, I want to make sure because it's picking up everything. Yeah, Chuck, how do I trust you?
We got the same last name.
Gantu!
I think it's super important because whether it's SolarEdge Pros or looking at other companies, when there's one bad apple, it reflects on.
Yeah, and and there was only one other company that I considered, and right now I can't recall the name. Just I'm bad with. That's a whole other different story and series on the podcasts. But it was my contact there was a guy by the name of Noah Masters. He was the only other reputable company that I ever ran across, and it was kind of between them. And it came down to ultimately who I saw more, who I talked to more. Not that Noah's a bad guy or anything, but I learned that he had his own venture. He opened up a coffee shop, and I'm going to interview him on that. That's really cool. That was something, but not. And I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but how do we go about trusting you, trusting SolarEdge Pros, trusting the equipment, everything that goes into it?
Well, the good thing about trusting SolarEdge Pros is, what he did first, the owner of the company, he did installs first. So he wanted to learn everything on the installs to perfect that right. That's why, our motto is, SolarEdge Pros, we do it right. You know what I'm saying? We do solar right. So it's that's what he learned how to do, and then at that point, he got into the sales, and that's when we came into the picture.
Yeah.
Sales department's been up running about 2.5 years now, and we're perfecting everything as we go every day. The good thing about us is that we do everything from A to Z. We don't deviate from anything. You don't
outsource any of the construction.
Nothing gets outsourced. Everything's in-house. We have the master electrician here. We have the installers here. We don't have a 1-800 number that you call and then you get a voicemail. Somebody is always going to answer the phone. It's just the little things that SolarEdge Pros do, that we do, that we get, the customers trust us. It's the little things.
Yeah. And how many of y'all are actually, out there door to door, boots on the ground, doing the murderous kind of sales?
We don't do the door to door knocking. We do most of our stuff on Facebook. We have a media guy here that works in the office. That's all he does all day long. And once the inquiries come into us, then we get notified. At that point, we get in touch with the customers. I know there's a bunch of people they're probably still knocking at your door. Solar.
Yeah.
Everybody I talk to, people.
I learned, oh, by the way, I learned the easiest way to get anybody away from your door. I rent this place. I'm sorry. I'm not the homeowner. I'm just renting.
I'm just renting, yeah.
Easiest way.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd say that as a homeowner, but man.
Yeah, that's real true. But anyway, yeah, we invest a lot of money in advertising, the internet,
and networking.
And networking. That's what we do. I personally, and that's how I met you
Uh-huh.
about 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago at the Power Hour down at Pico de Gallo.
Yeah.
That's where I met you.
SA Power, man, I miss those people so much.
Yeah, they were good people. That's how I met you. So that's what I do. I go to like 2 or 3 network meetings a week to try to get in touch with people. We normally get like one sale out of the month there, but they're good quality people. Like we got you.
I mean, I'm all right.
So that's how it happened.
That's how it happened. Yeah, I met him about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
At a Power Hour at a network meeting.
And the networking breakfast was like 8 in the morning downtown.
So paying them
Doing health insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do events in Bernie or in the San Antonio area so we can be right there firsthand, show them what we're capable of, because we even design systems right there on the spot for people. But yeah, that whole door knocking ordeal. I mean, sometimes though, you drive by some neighborhoods and you see some of the best roofs. That would definitely save some people money. But at the same time, you can still go to those houses and they're just not gonna have it. It's you're showing up to their Thunderdome and they don't want to hear it.
Well, the house my size and having a $50 bill, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, even combined, because, okay, so let's start getting into the real nuts and bolts of it, because, yeah, I have a $50 electricity bill, but there still is the catch of the loan itself that goes into paying for the solar.
Absolutely.
However, even with that, I'm still paying, a good $200, maybe $250 less a month.
Yeah, and if you win the lotto or get a lot of money, you can pay it off. There's no prepaid penalty, and once you pay it off, you're not going to have a solar bill.
It's fantastic.
And now you got free electricity. Now we can say you got free electricity.
Yeah.
Now, when you're saying you're saving $250 out, that's something people need to hear. Like, that's the stuff that will just convert people.
Yeah, like I'll say that my solar loan is about $247 a month, I think. Something like that, right?
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, 240-ish something. Yeah, and my electricity bill's somewhere around $50-$60. So yeah, my electricity bill's now around $300 for a brand new 2-story, whatever house. That's yeah, and that's during the summer.
Yeah. I mean, we get, the solar people get a lot of bad raps, because
They do, just because there's a lot of y'all, and
Yep. Absolutely.
And most of the bad companies are the annoying ones going door to door.
Absolutely, that's why
any door to door company gets a bad rap.
Yeah, and that's why we
just F off and.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the hardest parts about going into insurance, was just being that, robotic caller day in and day out. Like, oh my God. We used to swap stories of just, what was the rudest response you ever got. There was one time I was in a meeting and I was, just spamming text messages. I'm like, hey, I got your name, you were, said you were interested in insurance, and I got a very detailed part of a human anatomy that not exactly a nickname for a donkey, but
yeah. I believe that's happened to you.
Sales, sales is rough. It's a rough process, but there's so many different ways to approach it.
Well, you got to show them the value. That's the first thing you got to show them. When you're sitting down talking to them, you got to show them the value. Why you want to go solar. This is the value why you want to go solar. And the cool thing about it is, the government is throwing another 26%. They extended it this year. So you got 26% on your tax credit. And if you live in San Antonio, CPS is throwing another $2,500. And then on top of that, there's a solar company manufacturer that is in San Antonio called Mission Solar. They're on the south side of San Antonio. They employ about 200 people there. and they build solar panels.
Mhm.
It was funny because we were at Garden Ridge. I don't think you were there. We were at Garden Ridge, and this lady comes up. She goes, "Hey, I work for a solar company." And I said, "Well, yeah. Well, which one? You know, let's talk." And she goes, "I build them. I'm the inspector." Well, you know, a month later, she's got solar panels, but she made sure she had to get the ones that she wanted, was with Mission Solar Panels. So, I mean, you know, there's just so many benefits of going solar now.
It's good that you actually see the benefits. I mean, sometimes
The benefits are obvious. The benefits, if you don't understand the benefits, you just don't want to. I mean, you could just sum it up in one word: money. Everybody gets money in one way, shape, or form. Everybody understands having too little, having too much.
And like that's the aspect that I'm trained to stay on. But me, I come across as more sincere to the fact that what it's doing for the environment. Like I see past the money part. The money part, of course, is always going to be attractive towards somebody going solar. But just knowing that you're like holding hands across America, you have to do your part. Everybody's doing their part slowly, but just it's going to happen. And we have to transition somehow into a different type of energy source. And people who are going at this point in time, you guys are the lead runners. I mean, like the forerunners of this.
Scoot over. Get back in here.
Bring it in. Bring it in. But yeah, it's about being sincere with customers. I mean, I think that's the biggest difference between how we approach customers. Is the fact that we're just sincere, we're honest, we really believe in what the end goal is with solar. We're here to make it to scale. We're going to scale it up, and even though we're not as big as Sunrun or Sunpro or some of the mega corporations have been buying and selling each other like big fish, little fish in the pond.
Yeah.
The thing is that we're doing our part too, but in a different way. We're more customer oriented. We're making the whole process not as impersonal, and we really believe in what we're doing. It's good for the environment. It's good for our communities, and we're thinking about the future.
So what do you think is kind of holding us back from doing more than just solar?
I think it's...
I mean, we have wind too, but I mean, why do you think just solar is the popular thing?
I mean, solar is the most popular thing due to the fact that it's always sunny in Texas. I wouldn't say like every day, but here in the winter months. But it's always sunny. We have a ton of sun.
No, I'm talking about like on even a grander scale.
In a grander scale, I think
like electric vehicles, more nuclear energy. I mean, what?
In a way,
Let's get deeper on this renewable energy subject. Like, what will we have to do to get? Get back in here. I got some questions for you. I got some questions for you too. But like, what kind of incentives do you think we'd have to throw at these giant ass companies that, to get on the ball with renewable energy?
See, that's the fact. The incentives. I mean, they won't build a NFL stadium unless the government pays for it. I mean, sometimes I view that they start, taxing these companies that are, dirty companies. I mean, we got to find some way to not, be nice about it, but actually make them do it. But it's all political. We want to be free. Less government is always the best thing. But that's just my personal view. But that's why it's best to just keep learning what each individual person needs. So collectively we'll start seeing what.
Because we're not doing climate change for the planet. We're doing it for ourselves. The planet's going to be just fine. It'll recover from anything. I mean, it got hit by a giant rock, and still, we showed up.
Yep.
But if we don't act right, we're gonna die, and then, when the planet's done having its rash, the next thing will show up.
We can think about it like that, and of course, ultimately,
that's how we need to think about it. We're not trying to save the planet; we're trying to save our own asses.
Yeah.
So,
but in this instance, we're still individualistic. We're not thinking as a team. Like our society, we are very separated. So
definitely can't see that.
anything that does need cooperation is always held with a political view. So I think there's always a political agenda that kind of keeps some of these things from going widespread. And plus,
You know, I was recording a podcast last night with my brother, you know, just talking over a game of cards. And, you know, one of the things that got brought up was that, you know, how big of a catastrophe would have to happen before, you know, the world would unite against something like that.
and
Like,
there's a perfect
like how bad
example.
would climate change have to get before we all just started to act right?
It's definitely that one. You have to be the first observer to
Mhm.
something to actually believe in it. Like whenever I have some events, I'll joke around. I'm like, hey, it's Texas. If you can't see the sun, it doesn't exist because it was a cloudy day. And then plus like even the wars in Afghanistan, like you have to see the gravity of
Yeah.
it. And as soon as you're not even there, you don't care about it. It's like the kids in the commercials in Africa. It's like there's so many things that if it's not there in your face, people really don't care about it. And
Mm-hmm.
we're not seeing the immediate impact of climate change until it's in our front yard with their power out.
Mm-hmm.
Kids freezing, the dogs freezing. I know a customer who had a whole bunch of reptiles in his house. And so when the power went out, I mean, we're talking about some catastrophe.
There's some people who flat out died last year.
Yep.
Sure did. And so that happens, and then the sun comes out. And then what do? Where it's like that Titanic reference where the people who are already sunk are saying, help us, and the people at the very top, it's like, hey, we're not sinking yet. We're all going down together if we don't work together. So that's the thing that we have as a society. We're very individualistic,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's put in our faces. And the weather is not really acting 100% against us all the time. So we have a chance to take a breather. And, you know, it's like a timeout, and we're like, okay. So when it comes to that, it's like you gotta put everything together and be like, hey, it's like the movie Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you got that reference.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
very-
of
It's
course.
very political. The Don't Look Up, actually, you know what they're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Donald, because they're saying don't look up. Just don't look at the problem. Ignore it until it's in your face.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that one was pretty politically balanced, I think.
Or imbalanced. It was definitely going towards.
No, it was pretty balanced. It's when President can't even remember her real name.
I know the actress.
Yeah, she's
Cheryl
like
Streep.
Meryl
Is it
Streep. Yeah,
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. She's one of my favorite actresses ever. When President Streep, you know, just flipped on a dime because it was now in her best interest, I'm like, that's the American government. Like red or blue, that's the American government right there.
And did you love the fact that she played the president?
She played both, yeah.
That's funny.
She played a red president and she played a blue president. Like, just that was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, that was a great movie. But that's the issue.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of people saying this is not true. This is not. It's just
Yeah.
let's get together. And,
I remember, what was it, 2 years ago? It was still snowing in Colorado in July.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, climate change is real.
Yeah.
The thing.
But,
So we. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
but yeah, as far as, but then the way that you interpret it too, you said that the planet's gonna be good regardless. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we're talking about.
Planet's gonna be fine. It's us that's screwed.
But it looks like we're gonna look more into the scientific stuff. But let's stick to the benefits of solar and everything that we're talking about. because I think we're going into the deep end of. What do you think? What do you think? We could right now talk about the immediate benefits of solar, and the fact is that the technology is the best it's ever been. The processing or the manufacturing and processes of making solar are the most efficient they've ever been also, and so that's making solar the most low cost and then plus the most efficient at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at a game changer if more people and plus industries went solar due to the fact that it's readily available, it's good to go,
Mm-hmm.
set it and forget it. And it's good. And it's good always seeing a client go solar because of the fact that they saw through everything else and they just saw that one.
And I like these rabbit hole discussions though, because you know a little bit more about your passion beliefs behind why you want to do this. You know, we're going deeper into your beliefs and your passion over, you know, renewable energy. But since you mentioned the equipment, let's talk about this equipment. Oh, sorry.
No, you
Let's
can
talk about this equipment.
It's sturdy. We have a
Now-
guy. We have a guy who actually likes to hit it with his
Nice.
his university ring. So watch out for him.
Now, for the people who are on audio only, who haven't seen the highlight reels yet, we are in front of a display of what the setups look like. So let's go ahead and talk
So what
about
we're
this.
looking at here is all the regular components that go onto an installation. This is the main electrical components that we see actually on a wall. So we're
Alright.
looking at something that might have been here originally would have been the main service panel. This is the outside access point to the breakers within the entire household. This will run your AC, your washer, your dryer, different rooms of the house. And this is something that we, this is the main component of the outside electrical. But afterwards, after taking the pictures, we start planning out the electrical. So let's start from the top to the bottom. Because the important part, what we're talking about, is the solar. So as you can see up here, we have a solar panel. So the solar panel is not just going to be stuck on like
So this is what the actual panel feels like.
So that's an actual panel right there. And that's from the company that Chuck mentioned.
Shit, that's a lot harder than I thought it would be.
So that panel right there is the exact same panel as the big panel that you're standing right next to.
Uh-huh.
But they compressed it and did a display. So that's
Right.
it's a real actual.
So this is what's sitting on top of my house right now.
Yes.
As far as the panel manufacturer, I'm not sure, does he have Mission? So if you have Mission solar panels, this might be a little bit later, a little older model, but you do have the same manufacturer. Now those panels are impact rated for 80 PSI, which means a hail of that size hitting at 80 miles an hour could damage it. But
I mean, that'd be like that big.
yeah, we're talking
That's like, you know, kill you on impact size hail too.
like a
So,
small avocado.
Yeah.
Now, the panel itself doesn't do, it produces the energy. Now the thing is that the energy that it produces is direct current.
Right.
And that is usually just good for batteries or battery charging. So what's located on every single panel that we install is a micro inverter. And what these micro inverters do, once they get the energy from the solar panel into these, it will transform it to AC, so alternating current. So it's able to be used inside the house. So from each individual micro inverter, this is the junction box right here, and it heads down to the combiner box. Now what the combiner box does, since the micro inverters are one manufacturer and this panel right here is the same manufacturer Enphase, what ability you have is the ability to monitor every individual solar panel on an application on your phone or on your computer or desktop.
I completely forgot about that.
And the application is called the Enlighten Enphase.
I completely forgot about that. I should probably install that.
And it's super nifty because a lot of people like to see how much they produce during the day, and then plus it gives you the opportunity to see how much you're consuming. So I know some people are into Bitcoin and Robinhood and seeing stocks go up and down. So this is a nice little application that you can actually see your production just going up and up. It's a good feeling when you start seeing how much you're producing and saving. Now from the combiner box, it goes into the disconnect or the shut off, emergency shut off, and then from there it goes to the photovoltaic meter. Now this is
why would I need to emergency shut off my solar panels?
Well, it comes down if you want to do some maintenance or for any other reason. If you wanted to do maintenance on the combiner box, change out a panel, change out microinverter, fix some of the racking system, any situation that you don't need any power downstream, so you don't need any power that way. But the photovoltaic meter is something that the utility companies install themselves because at the very end process of the whole solar installation. So what the photovoltaic meter does is it tells you how much kilowatt hour usage you're producing, so going into the system. So this is your positive stream of electricity going into the system. Now from here, we go to the main service panel. So whatever isn't used comes either out
Mm-hmm.
on the revenue meter, or if you're consuming more than you're producing, then it'll go in through the revenue meter.
And just keep going throughout the house. That's
So
cool.
that's the basic setup. It can get a little bit more complicated once batteries or a generator is installed, but this is basically, I think around 90% of our installs is looking like what we're doing on residential.
That's real cool.
Why do we use Enphase?
So Enphase, they have a technology that just came out with their microinverters, which is something that is relatively new. It was just offered this year. Is that the microinverters that we have been installed in past years are grid-based, so it's something that needs an electrical signal that's coming from the revenue meter that tells it to stay on. So when the grid goes down, that means that the solar panels, for safety reasons and for maintenance reasons, the solar panels, the energy cannot go back into the grid, so it stops the production. So once it stops it, it can't go into the house. But now we're offering microinverters that have the option to be off-grid. And this comes from a technology that they have been using in Australia for several decades now, since the fact that they don't have power lines and some of the far reaches of the outback. So that technology that they've been implementing over there, they said, hey, why can't we just use it over here? For some reasons that we don't want to depend on the grid to stay on. So this microinverter is called the IQ8. So what that enables you, when the grid goes down, your solar panels are still producing and it's being used inside of your house. So it's used,
How new is that?
this is from, we started offering this in just this first quarter, this year.
How do I know if mine has that?
If you were installed last year, you probably have the IQ7 pluses.
Late last year.
The IQ8s came out this year.
Damn.
Beginning of this year.
So they just came out this year, so
Well, shit.
there's always an upgrade, but at that point, it would involve removing the panel. As you can see how they're bolted
Yeah.
here, taking it from the junction box.
Ooh, that looks like a lot of work.
Replacing this component. But that's always an option in the future if
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, that's
So-
the basic.
Okay, so let's ask. Okay, so let's see. We're about at the 45-minute mark. You gotta get going very soon. You have your meeting. So let me go ahead and let's wrap this up with the basic homeowner questions. And then we'll go ahead and end it there.
Sure.
So basic homeowner question number 1. What does it do to the value of my house?
So to the value of the house, if it's sized correctly, which by correctly I mean exactly to the specification of a homeowner, then that's gonna be a definite plus for the homeowner at that time. Now, if you're getting people who are coming from high energy cost states like California or any state that's far from Texas, those are usually high energy cost states due to the fact that, I don't know if you know this, but we actually provide energy towards California. That's why it's so expensive over there, because they're natural gas burning.
Yeah.
So they get our energy, so we're relatively cheap since we are the ones that are producing the natural gas. But the fact is, it brings up the value of the house due to the fact that it's producing cheaper power. So
But
what
about the dollar value?
the dollar value? The panels are going to pay for themselves. So at that point, it's like saying, if a house has solar power and it's handling 100% of what that house is consuming, but it's solar power, let's say that this year, solar, if you buy 1 kilowatt hour, which a house usually uses about 30 of those a day, if you buy a kilowatt hour from CPS, we're looking at around 14 cents a kilowatt hour. Now, in the future, this next year, it went up 3.85%. So it's usually 2%. So we're looking at a compound interest of year to year. So it's 14 cents now, but in about 5 years, we're looking at about 22, 23 cents.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing is that if a house has solar power on it, that set rate based on how much it was financed for and how much the term was, you know exactly how much you paid for those panels. So if those panels are producing all of your electrical needs, I mean, that's a set cost that ranges from around 9 to 11
Okay.
cents, and that's set.
So to be perfectly clear to anybody who's listening, it is not a tangible, lookable, raisable value in the home. It is intangible. It is overall savings. It is allowing you to allocate resources elsewhere. So it is a more indirect way to save money, but it is still a giant savings.
And
Next question.
And that definitely, it's something that it's good that you brought it because it's indirect. It's a passive way of.
Because some
saving
people
money.
don't get that. Some people want to say, "Oh, I got these panels. Now I want my house to be worth $25,000 more." No, it does not work that way. It will work in the long run of saving you so much money every single month over the long run of your electricity and all these other things that we've been talking about. What if I still have a loan on my solar panels and I need to, whatever, sell the house? What happens then?
So at that point, you would have to You would have to disclose that whenever you're selling the house. If it still has a loan, then you'd have to disclose how much is left on the loan and how much the panels are producing yearly. Now, a person can look at the amount that is left on the loan, a potential home buyer that was left on the loan, and then plus see how much they're producing, and compare it to what their usual consumption is at their household, or if they have something that's comparable to what the house now is consuming. And at that point, it's a
transferable loan.
It's a very transferable loan.
Transferable. Okay.
Very transferable.
And lastly, what kind of warranty do these things come with?
Yay, warranty. 25 years on the panels. We'll know if the panel goes out before you'll know, and then we'll just come and replace it for 25 years. The workmanship that Solar Edge Pros does, as the installs, if anything goes wrong with anything they install, that's a 20-year warranty. So say like there's a leak that we caused for some strange reason, but that will not happen with us. But say it does happen, we'll come out and fix it. So you got 20 and 25 years.
Very cool.
And then we talk about the most asked question: what happens if it hails or some type of damage happens to the solar panels? Now, we do have
I heard warranty. So.
We heard warranty, but the fact is that if hail hits it, you can't claim it on the manufacturer and say, "Hey, did you send that hail this way?" But no, the thing is, if it's a lot of panels, it's something to look into your homeowner's insurance.
If you get solar panels, re-up your homeowner's insurance. They are not covered by default. Okay? Okay.
So it's something that you have to claim with the homeowner's insurance. And like you said, definitely tell them that you are.
If you get panels, upgrade your homeowner's insurance because they are not covered by default. It is a special form of insurance.
Do you know how much yours went up by?
Like $40. So wasn't that? It's not that expensive.
You said $40 for a 6 month or a 1 year?
6 month. Yeah, it's not that expensive, but it doesn't cover it. So, all right, Mr. Rodolfo.
Wait,
I'll let you get on your way.
No, I appreciate
Thank you
it,
very
baby.
much for everything.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for coming in and checking
thank
out
y'all
the setup. And
thank y'all for having me.
no, super cool. Come back anytime.
Yeah, definitely.
Or we'll be out in the field next time. That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be real cool.
We can actually get a real. Well, you're a real customer. My bad. It's like, I'm a real boy.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great. Well, thank you very much, man.
And
You
definitely,
have
I want to catch up with what's going on with solar after a couple months and see what's going on.
yeah, we'll have more time.
We'll do another shoot at your place and see like after 3 months or how many months have you had it now?
Chuck, how long's it been? Since September?
September.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been a while then.
Yeah, it just got turned on though.
That's when I
Got turned on in October?
October.
So that's when
November?
I started. I started in September.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was born into the solar when you went solar. So
Nice.
we have it's the Triforce. We gotta find the third Triforce and see what that is.
Chuck, get over here. You're number 3.
He's it. He's the Ganondorf.
The
over here.
originator.
Yeah.
No, seriously, sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, you also help out. Got a little bit of. Do you have time? Give it a little bit of time. Okay. Well, again, thank you for everything. I hope you get to your next appointment on time. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
adjust that button so it just captures what's right in front of us.
All right.
So how you been?
I've been good.
Been good. How were the holidays?
Holidays were good. Everybody was happy. Trying to stay safe. That's for sure.
That's good, man. That's good. So what brought you here? What brought you into this company?
Actually, the owner was a good friend of mine. Met him at church probably about 15 years ago.
Nice.
He was always in construction, and one day he said, he goes, I'm gonna do something different, and when I do it, I'm gonna call you. And he did. He called me. He said, hey, so what I'm doing, I've been doing installs for about 4 or 5 years, and now we're gonna put the sales team together. So, and I remember him being just very meticulous, so I knew whatever he was going to dive into, he was going to do it right. And that's how I got into it.
Well, that's cool. What's the coolest house you've done construction on so far?
Oh man, every house is different. You know, there's a house off of 35 and 281 where it merges right there downtown. And you could see it from the highway. You can see it from coming in 281, like you're going north. And it was a 3-story house. And it was funny because when we did the proposal, the guy said, "Yeah, I want it." And so we did it, and then we had to get a big crane to do because it was so high. It was 3 stories, you know. And,
I've only ever seen one 3-story house.
But you can see it from the highway. Right next to it is that the bank that opened up right there on Broadway. Credit Human.
Credit Human?
Yeah.
Wait, that's a house?
No, that's...
The thing next to Credit Human, that's a house?
It's right next to it. It's right on Casablanca, right down the street from it. So you can see that.
Okay.
But when you see Credit Human, look on top.
Yeah.
They're all solar panels up there. They, I remember when they were doing the construction there, I had talked to one of the guys that says, yeah, this is going to be all green and it's going to be nothing but solar. So you can see all the solar driving that way. Yeah, that's the coolest house I've ever done. It was an older home, 3-story house, and it's close to downtown.
Very cool. You ever put solar panels on a place that was haunted? No, we're just gonna do dumb questions.
You know, I know there's a bunch of haunted houses here in San Antonio.
Yeah.
But no, never had the opportunity. You know, some of the older homes, the way they're wired, we gotta be very careful because we have to upgrade everything. I mean,
how new or how old can a house be?
Oh, it can be as old as it can, just as long as all this is upgraded.
I guess so.
And then that's why when we go out and we look at the system you have, and if we just have to do the upgrade, that's something that's we have to include in the price because what happens after we do the install, CPS comes out to inspect what we do.
Yeah,
and they're the ones that say yes or no. So
I remember all that.
And luckily, we haven't had any that said no. And that's the good thing about having everything in house here. Everybody's here. They're all, the warehouse is right down the street from us. The guys that do the installs are there. The administrative is here in this office here. So that's a good thing. We're just a phone call away from it.
Yeah, it's good to have the whole company local like that.
Yeah. I like to say we're an A to Z company. The thing with solar, it's like putting a puzzle together. It's all the pieces. All the pieces have to be done right because so many people put their hands on it that if it's not done right, at the end when CPS comes out and say, hey man, this is messed up. We don't want that. So we want to do it right. But it's a great company to work for. I mean, it's a family-owned business, which I like, and they've been great. They've been great. We started small, and every year we're growing. We had a Christmas party here, and then he looked around. And he says, I have the same people that were here last year, which was cool.
Yeah, that's great.
That's always good.
That's great. Is it incredibly hard to fight against the larger companies?
Oh yeah, it always is. Right now what's happening is there's a lot of competition out there. We just have to sell ourselves. We have to sell ourselves and sell we got to do the feature benefit. We got to show them the reason why you want to go with Solar Express. When you pick up the phone, you call. somebody will answer the phone. That's it's because everybody's going to have the same price. Everybody's not unless somebody's just going to undercut wherever. You were talking about door knockers earlier. Those are people they just hire. They give them $10 an hour, whatever. They knock on your doors. They get a lead, then they give it to somebody. Then that person gives it to somebody. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Then they got to find the installer. With us, everything's here. The minute somebody wants to do something, we schedule it. That's it. It's here.
What'd you do before this?
What I do before this? I did a lot of things before this. USAA. I was a mortgage underwriter for a long time.
Nice. Yeah, I failed at mortgage underwriting. Yeah, that was a bad year.
Yeah, I did very, very well there. I was a mortgage underwriter.
Cool.
Was there a long time.
Yeah.
And but when this happened, I mean, I decided this was the route I wanted to go. I've always been in sales, so I like sales. I like talking to people.
Yeah. I like talking to people too. Sales is kind of, it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I hate the tediousness of health insurance, but I like the in-depth and closeness of life insurance.
Right.
So, there's that nice little balance, and then, once this takes off, this will be, it.
Yep. This is the perfect thing you're doing. It's awesome. It's awesome what you're doing.
Yeah, it took a little bit to get back in the swing of things. I mean, this is my first going out one.
Good.
I've been setting up appointments again. It's just the last one's been a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of hard to get back into the swing of things between holidays and losing a couple of people and
absolutely.
the virus just showing up out of nowhere all over the place.
Gotta be careful. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's just madness. And the month ain't even over yet.
Nope, it's not.
You've lost 6 celebrities and
Yep, a lot of people. That's crazy. It's insane.
damn, Betty White.
Yeah, that's
The
really for
last day.
Yeah, couldn't wait till 100.
They're just kicking the balls right there.
Yeah, absolutely. She was cool.
She was cool. And the entire world thinks you did not live long enough.
Yeah.
You had a good life.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for this
Man,
connection,
thanks for
man.
coming. I'm glad you came to the office. I wanted you to see the office, see the operation, see where you
Dude, I really like this setup. This is really cool.
Yeah. People can come in and look at the setup and see how how everything works.
I mean, other than this, well, at least I'm not paying attention.
Yep.
I didn't pay attention, but yeah, no, this is good.
You have this at your house. It's outside your house.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And
I'm
we
just
got to
not
get the app up.
Yeah, I
and
got to
running
get
for
the
you,
app.
so we can up and run for you. And
Yeah, I completely forgot about the app.
we'll get you done. But man, thanks for coming out.
Thanks for
It was
having
awesome,
me, man.
brother. It was awesome. Good to see you, man. Say
Good
hi
to
to
see
the
you
family.
too.
Okay.
All right. Anything you want to plug in besides Solar Pros themselves?
We do have a $500 referral fee. Just make sure that if you want to just message Fabian, you can.
Now these fine people have decided to be my very first sponsor. Hopefully they're gonna come with a link for me that I can just tag in on everything. And if they have their own commercial that I can tag on the very beginning of all my... what's y'all's range? Is it San Antonio? Is it all of
San
Texas?
Antonio, Bernie, all of Texas.
All of Texas, okay.
Bernie, South Texas, down at the border, down to McAllen, down, around Seguin, Bernie, all around here.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so... anything else? Like any
That's
charities? Anything you do on the side? Any hobbies? Any...
No.
Yeah, we'll meet up again and talk about something that's not this, but this is a lot of what season 2 is going to be about. Finding out more about the small businesses around here in San Antonio and my community and the surrounding areas and the people behind them.
Yep.
And it's, definitely putting more of a connection, more of a human face to these areas that we just, ignore, take for granted, or just... don't know anything about. So thank y'all very much. Thank you for joining us for this experience, and y'all take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.